Hello and welcome to Lone Star Silver Screen, a podcast about everything that exists at the intersection of Texas and the movies. I'm your host, Austin Zook, and today I am joined by a film connoisseur, a regular attendee at film events across North Texas and the greater United States, the film festival doctor herself, Rebekah Louisa Smith. Rebekah, how are you?
Good, thank you. That's a great intro. It's great to be here. I love doing pods.
Well, I'm excited to have you here. As you know, I'm a fan of your podcast, so having you here with me today is great. I'm really looking forward to what we're going to be talking about, which is some Texas film festivals that you recommend. But before we get into that, I always start every episode of the show with an icebreaker. So I'm going to give you a topic, and you have to tell me if that topic is overrated or underrated. Are you ready?
Yes.
Mexican food.
Overrated.
Overrated? See, that's the European in you talking.
It is. Actually, I think it is. Because it's very different in Europe when it comes to Mexican food. So here it seems to me like it's just like 24/7. It's just a bit too much. I mean, like, Mexican food is amazing and we all kind of know it and where to go, but it's like a lot of it is, like it's a bit too much, I feel. So I think it's now just like, okay, well, we're over this now. We get it. And like, it's always available.
So before we get into film festivals, I wanted to just sort of give the audience an idea of how you ended up where you are today, because like I said, you are the film festival doctor. You do this for a living, working with independent films to help them navigate the festival circuit. Could you just give me an idea? How did you end up here?
Yeah. It got to the point in about 2018 when I was feeling detached from the United Kingdom, which is where I was born and raised. So I lived in the UK all my life. And I was born and raised there, grew up there, started my business up there, met all my friends and family there, the whole lot. It's all like, I'm a British, I'm British bred. And it got to the point where I was going to the US quite a lot to like build my business further, because it started off in the UK in 2010. Then I started building it up, and I was like going to the US a lot more to like, for more festivals, more connections, more clientele. And then it was around 2018, I was like, right, I need to really move to the US now. I'm ready. I thought I might move to the US at some point in my life. I was just knew it wasn't going to be the forever home being the US. I was like, I think I'm ready now. So we started doing the process for the visa. And then eventually I got here, after a lot of hiccups with COVID in the way. I got here in 2021. And I got here to Dallas, which was kind of like not, I wouldn't say first choice, but I thought I would be either in New York or LA. But I got to New Dallas really well. And I thought, you know what? I want to try living here because it's a little bit oversaturated in our industry in LA and New York. And I know them both very well by going to lots of festivals there, but also new festivals in Dallas, especially that being the Dallas Film Festival. So it just kind of made sense to really start. I thought, just start here, see if it works. And it does really work. So I'm in Oak Cliff in Dallas.
It's kind of nice because as far as the US goes, you're sort of centrally located between New York and LA.
I didn't know that till I got here. I thought I knew Dallas when I got here, but I only knew parts of Dallas County. I had no idea how big Plano, Frisco, Garland, and all these other, suburbs were that big. I thought it was, tiny little places, but I got out there, it was so big. And I thought, wow, I just misjudged that. But I knew the city of like Dallas quite well, but that is like quite a small comparison to the suburbs that are around it and how big they are, like Denton as well. So yes, it was quite like a bit of a culture shock. And then I realized as well that I'm in a really good spot to get to New York and LA. And I was just like, this is really good, because friends of mine were like in LA going, oh, you're going to New York, it's going to be the red house, going to be 6 hours. I was like, wow, this is a really good spot because it's like right, literally dead center. And getting anywhere else is also quite quick as well. Obviously not Hawaii, but anywhere, within like the mainland US is super quick.
Are you going to Hawaii very often?
Well, that's a place I've always wanted to visit. I've got films this year in the Hawaii Film Festival, so I have an excuse to go. I was like, ooh, but it is like definitely further. And I think it's far from anywhere in the US. Even LA is going to be 6 hours from there. So it's not, a quick flight. It is on my list, my bucket list to go to is Honolulu.
So now that you're here, you're based in Dallas. I know you are a traveling woman. You are constantly posting photos from film festivals all over the place. But here within Texas, before we get into the 5 festivals that you've chosen to talk about, tell me a little bit about what your experience has been coming here and spending time traveling around the state. I mean, has it been surprising in any way, or unexpected?
I definitely did not realize just how many small towns there are in Texas. I just didn't know that till I got here. That was something I was like learning, like, wow. But I have seen some areas that I didn't think I'd ever see since I moved here, because some festivals obviously go, as we say, further afield. And it's, what's the word to describe it? It's kind of, how do I say it in the right way? They're very different towns to the UK. So it is a culture shock. And there's some places I went to that I just never thought I'd ever go to, but really enjoyed. Like, I really like Oklahoma City. I really enjoyed that. It's a really nice city. The parts that I was in, I really liked, and a great energy in the new part. And like some parts of Texas, I was like, wow, this is what you call small. Dallas is like a super city compared to this area. But yeah, it's an interesting place I've been to. I think the most interesting ones I've been to have been in Texas, but I've been to some really nice, cute towns in Arizona, California, other parts of New York. I really love Woodstock. Woodstock Film Festival is fantastic, and the area is so cute. It's so different to New York City. It's quite it's quite a shock to the system, but it's wonderful.
See, now that's one I would love to check out. I love New York. I love the city, and I love going upstate. I just think it's so beautiful.
It is. Like, I never seen a place so beautiful. I was like, wow, it's amazing, all these hidden gems in this massive country. I mean, like, the UK is like, a million times smaller than Texas. So it really is, it's a bit of a difference. You can drive around Texas for 12 hours and still be in Texas. You can drive around the UK for 12 hours and you wouldn't be able to drive that far because it's not big enough.
You run out of island?
You run out of island. As far as you can go, like Land's End to John O'Groats is like 8 hours. I mean, nothing compared to that's without traffic, but the same in Texas, like it's minimum 12.
Yeah. Well, so what is the first Texas Film Festival that you want to spotlight for us today?
Well, I have a bit of a fun thing I prepared. So I have my list of the five, but I've also got just a couple more, just a few little like other festivals I recommend. So the first one is, I've not put in the top 5, the obvious one, South by Southwest, because that one is like, an absolute no-brainer. Everyone should go to that. Everyone knows about it. Everyone's heard of it. It's worldwide networking, amazing panels, a lot going on, all different genres, TV, games, music, everything's happening all at once. It's exhausting, but worth it. So everyone knows about that one. So that's like an obvious one. I wanted to give like some honorary mentions, or I don't know, maybe that's the word. I don't know the word to describe it, but 5 other festivals that you definitely need to put on your radar for up and coming filmmakers. Okay. So for example, here's the 5 that I had. So any filmmakers into this who is, a new grassroots or wants to make more connections locally in Texas, or looking at cities that are film friendly, just to really expand their horizons of new places, but also to meet new connections, discover more talent, would be the Denton Black Film Festival, which is local to us, obviously in Denton, Texas. Great festival for Black filmmakers. And they also do all sorts of events. They have film, but also have music, poetry, a whole lot. Real East Texas, that's obviously in East Texas, in Kilgore. Very interesting town and a beautiful theater that's up and coming. That one's lovely. The guy who runs it is great, Chip. There'll be the Kid Film Festival in Hico, Texas. That's an hour and 40 minutes from Dallas. That's a real fun festival in a very small town. Which is in Beaumont, Texas. Beautiful theater, Jefferson Theater. Great people that run it. They've really got a lot of stuff going on in that part of Texas. And the Lone Star Film Festival in Fort Worth. Those are ones I recommend everyone should go to that's new. And also just to really discover more filmmakers locally to you, to expand your network and your contacts directly. So those ones are the honorary mentions, you could say, the ones I just like to put on people's radars before we dive in.
Okay, perfect. So for those 5, I just wanted to ask, because I've talked to you specifically about Billy the Kid before and Boomtown, and then, I'm familiar with the others, but what is it about being at those festivals that makes them so exciting compared to something like South by?
Yeah. They're exciting because the people who run all those festivals really care. They really have the hearts in the right places. They want to build a safe space and a brilliant community of filmmakers and to help people grow. And that's their intention. It's not about them. It's about the filmmakers. And all the films they put on show people who are up and coming, emerging talent, and also some very established as well. So it's a really, really fun mixture of all sorts of people, but also it's a really good energy that's been put together there. So it's incredible kind of feeling. So I love all of those because their intentions are all the same. And the one in Lone Star, Chad and his team are great. That's been going for a while. That's like the flagship one in Fort Worth. And they love supporting local filmmakers as well as international, but the people that tend to to go are ones who are based in Texas because it's local to them. So there's something just special about those ones that really, I can see them growing rapidly over the next years. They're getting funding. They're still growing. They've still got support from locals and from outside. So that's what we need to see, these really important community local festivals grow.
So I wanted to ask you before we jump into your main list, when we're talking about film festivals in Texas, is this an all year thing? Are there certain seasons where you feel like we have kind of a glut of festivals? Or is it, you can kind of keep your eye out and usually have something to go to any month?
To be honest, there's something going on every single month. People say to me, oh, when's the festival season? You must be busy now because it's like, September. But that's not true. My festival calendar and we call it our screening timeline, where we have all the festivals that are happening each month and all of our films that are there. It's our timeline. And that is mega busy. So literally that timeline is pretty much full between the second week of January up until the second week of December. So there's always something. And that applies to Texas too. There's a festival like at least every month. Obviously, you have South by in March, and Be the Kid is November, so is Lone Star. Denton is January, Real East is November as well, or end of October. So those run a lot at the same time. But there's always I have Diff Shorts, which is Dallas Film Festival's cute little baby, and Amber's little gem, who runs the shorts. That's in October too now. There's always something. There's always something happening every kind of month. San Antonio is in the summer. Amarillo is in Beaumont, the one in Beaumont, Boomtown is February. There's always something to do each month in around the whole of the world, but also definitely in Texas. So there's no real season. I mean, there's a lot of festivals that happen at the same time during award season, which is between September and December. There's a lot of festivals then, mainly so September, October, November. There are some in December up until Christmas, but it tends to be more, it goes mad September, October, November. October is probably the month I have the most festival screenings for all my clients' films. Loads of them. I'm all over the place. I mean, I'm all over the place all the time, but it's like I've got 3 festivals in the same weekend. I'm going to be at one of them, so I've got people to go there for me.
Wow.
Yeah,
I
insane.
don't know how you do it. I feel like every time I open Facebook, you're like posting a photo from a new red carpet in a different state.
I kind of am. It's 24/7. There's a lot going on. As we have screenings all the time for all our clients, which is really, really grateful for. It is a full-time job. When I started this off, it wasn't a full-time job. It was a side hustle, but then it grew to become like a full-time thing. And, we get a lot of films come in per week to review. We have clients to work on with their films all the time. We have a lot of people to manage. So it is a full-time agency now. It used to be just say like a one-woman show, but then that grew and changed. And it had to be established for me to move here because I was bringing into the US, a very valuable business that has growth. So that's why I got my visa, because it shows that I can help people locally and help them build careers and make money.
Well, speaking of which, let's jump to your first pick.
The first pick. So this is in alphabetical order. No favoritism, just alphabetical order. First one is the Austin Film Festival, which takes place in October every year in a lot of downtown Austin.
Okay. So I am a native Texan. I am a film fanatic, as you know, and I have never attended the Austin Film Festival, and I know very little about it. So give me an idea. What's the flavor like of the films they're showing?
So it tends to be a lot of high-end independent films, which a lot of them really are generally independent. It's not like all loads of studio films. There are some of those, but it is generally independent, high quality films from all over the world. They have a spotlight on and on, obviously on Texas filmmakers, but really it's a writers festival. It's really a writers film festival because the main chunk of the festival is dedicated to a writers conference. So as you might know, those are the people who don't know, the Austin Film Festival is very well known, very famous festival. It's also a Oscar qualified festival for short films, probably the most longest running one, I think. But also it has a big sidebar, which is the screenwriting competition. So every filmmaker submits to their screenwriting competition. Movie Maker magazine do highlight like top 25 writers that are all chosen by the Austin Film Festival screenplay team. And that's a big part of their festival is really the screenplay arm. So the conference really focuses upon writers and writing and, behind the scenes of writing TV and film around the US. So it's a very informative conference. And I recommend any aspiring writer attend that festival because they will learn loads. Like they'll come back and they'll be really inspired and also probably learn things they never ever knew because it's a very, very in-depth conference. There is obviously stuff for filmmakers. There's loads of, networking events and parties for the first half. But, It's very busy the first chunk of the festival because it's the Writers' Conference and it's the awards and networking. There's also a party before that where they raise funds for the festival. There's also like food and wine and drink, all that kind of thing. So it's a very sociable film festival. And as I said, it's really for writers. And one of my clients in New Zealand is going. I was like, you need to go because he got the quarterfinals round. So definitely go because you'll learn a lot from it and you'll meet people you want to meet to help on your journey. So he's off and you do. So like I say, if you are new or established in the world of screenwriting, go because it's for all levels.
So when you're talking about this film festival being a writers' film festival, I mean, do you feel like most festivals have a category like that where they really shine? Or is it more like, hey, most of them are for filmmakers, and then every now and then you'll have one that's more focused on writers specifically?
Yeah, this one is more focused for writers specifically. I mean, obviously filmmakers are welcome there because it's a big community, but it is really, they look after their writers really well. And there's not many festivals that have that big a conference or that much dedication to screenwriters. There are festivals that do have industry programs, which is like how to write a script or script writing 101 or something. But this one is a lot more in depth. And lots of people who attend the festival are well-known writers.
Okay. Well, one more thing I wanted to mention. You said Movie Maker magazine
Yes.
publishes. So
Yes.
if somebody is wanting to learn more about the film industry, are there any trades or publications like that you recommend they keep an eye on?
So 100% Movie Maker magazine is very pro film festivals. What they do several times per year, they have their top 50 festivals worth the entry fee, the top 25 coolest festivals. And they also have normally they did a screenplay competition, top 15 screenplay competitions, and also top 50 film schools. They do those a lot. They also reviewed my podcast, which I did at Texas Theatre recently, which was fantastic. So they do a lot of stuff for filmmakers. They have a magazine that's printed 3 or 4 times a year. And they also have online, which is where lots of articles come up, and they have a website. Sorry, they have a newsletter once a week. It's really good. So that one is a top resource. And if you're really keen to know more about festivals and what they approve and what's on their radar, definitely read that magazine because they're very, very pro film festivals. One of the festivals on my list is a big part that comes out the other time. But for those who want to know about trades and magazines, Movie Maker, you should buy. Also, the other ones would be Variety magazine. That is very well known, long running, over 100 years now, a Variety magazine. And they have a newsletter that comes up each week and those kind of things and bulletins. The Hollywood Reporter is also great. That's been around for a long time as well. And Deadline. So those are the ones, if you want up to the minute, news, and also just knowing a bit more about the industry and the economics and financing and where to shoot your film and all about the industry and the business. That's what those trades can help you with. Filmmaker is less of a hardcore trade. It is more filmmaker friendly. But I'd say, to be honest, if you want to know about the business, those 3 are great. And know about the film world and about a few more about festivals and about writing, and definitely that magazine, Movie Maker, would be wonderful.
So what is your next selection for film festivals in Texas?
So number 2. We have the Dallas International Film Festival that takes place on our doorstep.
So what excites you about this one?
So actually, it was this year the Dallas Film Festival operated as a Oscar qualifying film festival for short films, all 3 categories. So they've been trying for a while to become a qualified festival for the Oscars, but they just, didn't happen. But recently, obviously this year it did. So they got the notification in around October, I think, last year, when they announced new festivals that were part of the Academy's qualifying festival list. And that was actually the time at that same year when Dallas became a qualifying city for the Oscars. So it is a big milestone for Texas and for the city, obviously, because it means, as we saw this year, a lot more filmmakers have been in attendance. So, and also a lot more submissions. I know Amber, who is on the shorts committee and is one of the key producers of the festival, she got loads more submissions for the festival because it just become qualified for the Oscars. So what that means, people that don't know, is if your film wins the jury prizes for best animated short film or best documentary short film or best live action short film, that means you can submit your film to the Oscars. You're fast tracked. And it was just literally this year they had their first year's of qualifying for the Oscars. And it went great. I know because I was there and it was super busy, super busy. I've never seen it so busy. I think there was definitely a huge increase in attendance because there's definitely more filmmakers there. And the films that when I saw were all good and it was exciting for the team. So that one's a really good local festival, but also it has all sorts of people attend. It's got established, it's got new filmmakers, it's got people from out of town, and also locals attend it too. My neighbors like going because they like to see the films that get programmed. So it's a big cultural event in Dallas and a very, very good festival for us all to attend.
And then for anyone who's not in the know, if a film is looking to submit to the Oscars and they don't win one of these awards, there are all kinds of hoops they have to jump through, right? So you have to pay for 7 days worth of screenings in a theater, which can be very expensive, and it can be prohibitively expensive, especially if we're talking about a short film or maybe even a documentary film. Is that right?
Correct. So there are two ways you can qualify your film to be able to submit to the Oscars to become eligible. So the first option you have is winning a Oscar qualifying award at a festival that is Oscar qualifying, a Dallas Film Festival. The other option you have is to qualify the film by doing a week-long release in a theater in a qualifying city for the Oscars. There are 6 of them, and Dallas-Fort Worth is now one of them. You can do it in Tarrant County or Dallas County, so that's here in Dallas, or Tarrant County to Fort Worth and the surrounding cities, which is great. So if you don't win that prize, and they're hard to win because it's obviously, it's not all the prize. You can't just, if you've been selected, you can't submit. You have to win that specific award. So it's very precise. It can't just be like, win best editing or best director. It needs to be the award that is Academy qualifying. But the other way you can do it, as I mentioned, is doing that release. And it can vary in price depending on where you go. I always do it in Dallas. I do it at Texas Theater. And that's, a great place to do that. And in Fort Worth, there is theater there that I use, which is called the Texas Movie Bistro, for those that want to do it there. So we have those options.
Okay. What is your next film festival?
Number 3 is Fantastic Fest,
which is just wrapping up, right?
Yeah, I just announced their winners actually today. That festival is fantastic. Well, literally, I just said that. Literally is. One of the programmers, who's one of the feature film programmers and actually head of the submissions, Tim King, he was on my live podcast recently. He came to Texas Theater and gave us a brilliant insight into how he programs a Fantastic Fest, and was super informative. But it is a really fun festival. It's a genre film festival. So it celebrates all things horror and fantasy and sci-fi. And he specializes obviously in feature film programming, and his area, like his favorite area to program, is camp films. It was actually the film that won, one of the films that won the prize was actually called Camp, that you talked about during the podcast. And it's just so much fun. It's a long festival. It takes place at the Alamo Draft House in Austin. Pretty much takes over all the screens. There's loads of celebrities that come. It's a lot of it's endurance test because it's long, but also the night, everyone's there till early hours of the morning drinking. There's loads of films that are on. It's a big, heavy program, but a really well created program. And it is the US's largest genre film festival. Going for a long time now.
And I think they do a really good job of getting not only films that you may not hear about otherwise or may not see at other film festivals because they are genre specific, but they also do these secret screenings where they'll bring in kind of big name films and it'll be a huge surprise. So like this year, I know one of the secret screenings at least was Begonia, the new film from Yorgos Lanthimos. And
yes.
I would say also, if somebody listening is not familiar with this festival, as somebody who has some friends in the film scene in Texas, this is the one festival that I feel like everybody is either going to or trying to go to. I mean, I see more people posting about being at or trying to get to Fantastic Fest than anything else. I mean, it just seems like it's not only a great place to see films, it's also this incredible community event. And it's got a very warm atmosphere. That Alamo that they have it at on South Lamar is incredible. I love going there.
I do too. And when I was there on opening night, because my film last year was the day after, and I was just like, wow, everyone's dressed up and it's like a really chilled out vibe, a lot of fun. I was like, wow, this is it's like hardcore. There was a film starting at midnight till 2:30 in the morning in a Q&A. It's like, it never ends. It's pretty much full on, but it does really good for the Alamo Draft House because it's a great theater to do it in. I love that theater. I didn't know it until I got there, but I really love the vibe, and it's a really nice theater and great screens and sound and all that. So yeah, it's one of my favorites. All kind of like anybody here listening who has a horror film, a genre film, definitely submit because it is the place to get your film seen in Texas.
Absolutely. What is number 4 on your list?
Number 4 is the Oak Cliff Film Festival.
Our favorite here. Okay. All right. I know you've had Ashton on your podcast. That's
Yeah.
Ashton Campbell. He is the festival co-director. He works at the Texas Theater. He's very active in the film scene here in Dallas. I'm assuming he slipped you some money so you would talk about the fest on this podcast. But what do you love about OCFF?
I love that festival because it's super laid back. And it's super laid back, chilled. It's like a home, I call it a home from home festival. You know, everyone's like, makes friends, not just acquaintances and contacts, but friends too. It's a great vibe. Texas Theater, as you know, is wonderful. And also the other venues they use are great too. So it's very different to Dallas Film Festival because that has like a red carpet and glamour. This is more, you know, like super chill, super laid back. But also, besides that, the programming is fantastic. So the feature films that they screen are all really high end. They've got a great team of programmers. Every year, there's always a film that stands out. You never forget. This year, for me, I love Positions. I thought, did you see that one? Did you see?
No,
You
I
haven't seen that
wanted
one?
to. And everyone who
But
saw
it's
it
just,
said I would love it.
I loved it. I mean, I absolutely adored it. And I thought it was, I mean, the energy of the film and the edit was spot on. And our friend Alex Shoemate saw it and he's edited and it was like, that is perfect edit. And it is, it's brilliant. And there's also some really good short film blocks. I also like that festival dedicates a block of shorts programming to Super 16, which is wonderful. So a film shot on Super 16 on film is great to see that block. They're all kind of really out there and amazingly shot films. They had a film there in a block that one of my films was in last year called Make Me a Pizza. And that film was brilliant. It did all the big festivals actually, but it was so like brilliant. How it was shot was perfect.
What was it about?
So it's about literally this, it's like a spoof of a 70s porn film. And this guy
Okay.
comes in, it's like, you know, like, oh, you want me to fix your, like, you know, like plumbing? And he brings, says, oh, she's made me a pizza. But it's really, really good. And I remember seeing it traveling around the circuit with my films. I was like, oh, there it is. That film is great. You know, it's good. It's so much fun. Everyone feels like you're part of like a really good community. You kind of want it to go on longer because it's just in a routine. It's like, as you know, it's great programming. You covered it this year. Really eclectic programming. A mad, crazy films. They're all kind of out there. They're not particularly what you say the most accessible. They are. Some of them are accessible. You know, not all of them are accessible. They're just stuff that you wouldn't normally see at the festival because it's very much like it's got an edge to it.
Well, and it kind of splits the difference in programming between like what you were talking about with the Austin Film Festival and Fantastic Fest, where they will have these indie darlings that are, you know, I don't even want to say traditional because they usually have kind of a twist to them, but they're not going to just like melt your mind. They're just going to be like incredibly well made, very engaging, very accessible films. But then they will also have movies that like, you know, kind of break all the rules and just expand your mind and expand the idea of cinema. And they get really excited about that stuff, which is one of the things I love about Oak Cliff.
And it's all like, you know, the vibe of it is very much like come as you are. There's no pressure and there's no pretentious either. And my client was there, Lindsay, who you met, you know, you saw her film, which you loved, and we loved your review of it.
Incredible film.
It's amazing, yeah. And she hasn't really been to any because she's in Germany. So all the festivals she was doing were outside of Germany. She's got two coming up in Germany, but everything was like outside of Germany. It's kind of hard for her to travel, which is making another film. You know, traveling quite long haul is difficult. And she was like, oh, I can actually make it for Texas for this particular event she was having to go to. And she was like, oh, this is so much fun. You know, she really liked the vibe and she'd never been to Texas before. And the first time she'd seen Texas Theater and all that in Dallas. So she really loved it. It was very, you know, super, super cool.
Well, one of the things I love whenever I'm writing an article about Oak Cliff, anytime I talk to a filmmaker who has attended that festival, I mean, I hear the exact same thing from all of them, which is that the Oak Cliff Film Festival for filmmakers is kind of a unique festival. You know, everybody tells me they take care of and support the filmmakers in a different way from most other festivals. And I mean, that goes all the way down to giving people rides if they need to go somewhere.
Yeah.
You know, they have a driving team available. And all the
Yeah.
filmmakers say, like, that's something you don't get everywhere. Like that level of attention to like, hey, we need to make sure you're set up okay because we know you don't live here in this city.
Yeah, exactly. Ian Loomer and Chris Gardner are wonderful. They do hospitality. Ian's the head of it. And also Chris helps out a lot and drives a lot of people around. He's wonderful. And they were like so fun, you know, and like laid back. So that's what you need. There's no pressure. A lot of filmmakers, clients of mine, do say they get a bit nervous for a festival on edge because their film's being seen, you know, they're being exposed. But it's like, well, it's fun exposure and also it's a supportive environment. No one's there to judge you. They're there to help you and also make you feel welcome. Everyone's there for a good time. Wouldn't be in the festival, it wasn't any good in that one.
Right.
Yeah.
So what is your fifth and final selection?
That would be the Waco independent film festival.
Okay. Now I grew up just south of Waco, so I'm very familiar with the city. I've never been to the festival, but I did listen to your podcast episode speaking with the people who run it. And
Yeah.
I mean, it sounds like it's just an incredible experience. What are you responding to there?
It absolutely is. So when I mentioned earlier in the pod about the Movie Maker magazine's, top 50 festivals list. So Waco Independent Festival has been featured on pretty much all of their lists. It's been featured first of all on the top 20 festivals for new filmmakers. It's also been now recently on the top 50 festivals worth the entry fee. It's also been on there, I think it's also been on another one, which is maybe the coolest one, but it's been featured a lot with them because they love that festival and it really is good for new filmmakers without doubt. So it's in obviously a small town in Texas, Waco, but it has such good support and the people that run it, everybody is so passionate and they really care. And they focus on not just Texas filmmakers, but they have awards and programs for all different types of genres. But it is just so much fun. It's like actually a mini Oakland Film Festival. So it can grow that way because it's got that right intention and vibe. But if you're new to Texas and if you want to go to a festival where you meet friends and also connections, but just also feel seen and heard, definitely the Waco Independent Film Festival. I mean, obviously it's smaller than Dallas, as you know, it's tiny. And they do this location tour and they're really growing the city because it's actually expanding quite quickly, believe it or not. And it's just fantastic. So that one is one. When I first went, I was like, oh, there's definitely some magic here. There's a really great vibe. And everyone actually, there are people who have met at that festival who come back each year and just make a film just for the festival and submit it to get in because they want to come back because that's how much they love it and how much they miss it each year.
And cut this out if I'm wrong, but did I recall that they usually have a comedy category? Are they bringing comedies in for the Waco Film Festival? I want to say there was one festival that did that.
Yeah, they do have a comedy program, and they
Okay.
have a Best Comedy Award, and they do have there's a focus on comedy for sure, comedy short films, and they do screen more shorts than features. I'll be honest, and they have a lot of submissions come in for features after they're really ruthless about, but there's a lot of it is for new filmmakers especially, and they really do look after you. There's this really cool party where you have a mechanical bull, and you can ride a mechanical bull.
Oh,
Yeah, so it's kind of
have you done it?
No, I'm too scared to go on that because it's real hardcore. I remember one of my clients did it and got thrown off and was just woof. And I was like, wow, good luck on that then with your back. But it's very much acquired taste, you could say, Monaco Bull. But it is also a lot of fun. People enjoy it when they do it. And they also have parties where, they have all these kind of a Texas barbecue. So it's a lot of fun. And everyone comes, it grows each year because I've been there a couple of years now, maybe 3 years straight. I've seen each year it just been more and more filmmakers. And they have had an increase in submissions or the exposure that they've had through Movie Maker magazine.
Before we wrap up, I wanted to ask you, just kind of generally, because we've talked about, you working with your clients, helping them navigate these different festivals, what the different festivals specialize in. One thing that I'm always really interested in are festivals that feature short films. Earlier, you mentioned that DIF, the Dallas International Film Festival, now does a special mini fest for short films, no pun intended. But as someone who represents a lot of filmmakers who have made short films, I just wanted to get your perspective. What gets you excited about a short film? What do you think the value is there? And why do you think people should seek these out whenever they're going to festivals or looking at a festival lineup?
So a short film, I think they're wonderful because when they're done right, they can really capture in a short space of time a lot of emotion, real makes you think afterwards and really urgency and really vibrant filmmaking. And I find shorts very valuable for filmmakers because they're like a virtual business card, like a visual business card, just what you could say. It shows to a broad audience what you can do as a writer, director, makeup artist, an actor, all the kind of key HOD roles. They have a lot of good vibes in them to really help people launch their careers. And I love working on a short because, I do features as well. I do all sorts of products. I do everything, but I get a lot of shorts come my way. And I love working on them because it just shows with Lindsay, they call me the Tattoo Witch. That's her first film and she's going places. And I discovered her. It's a really good, cap on my bow. That feather out cap on my bow, whatever the word is, you know what I mean. What's it called? Bring up to my bow, whatever we call it in the US. It's always been different in the UK. But it's like, I love doing that discovery because you discover filmmakers. That's what festivals are a lot of the time about. When you see a shorts blog, it's discovering a new talent and seeing them grow and like, wow, they're doing well with that film and they're going left, right and center. They're winning awards here and there. They're going, to the Oscars, to the BAFTAs, the BIFTAs, all this kind of stuff. So it's really important. Short films are very important. When they're done right, they can really open a lot of doors for filmmakers.
Fantastic. Well, Rebekah, I want to thank you so much for taking the time to talk to me today. I have loved this.
Me
And,
too.
your expertise when it comes to film festivals is just second to none. If anyone listening wants to keep up with you and your work, where should they be looking?
So the best place would be my website, which is thefilmfestivaldoctor.com. And also Instagram is at Rebekah Film Doctor. So that's RebekahFilmDr.
Okay. And then we have alluded a couple of times to the fact that you are a fellow podcaster.
Yes.
With, some very successful episodes under your belt, which you have sent to festivals, correct?
Yeah. So I love how you can get a podcast on the film festival circuit. I think it's wonderful. I'll be honest. I'll give you a little side note on this. I've done a couple of festival strategies for podcasts, and I was like knowing the market then and where to place them. There's a lot more opportunities for podcasts which are fiction, but there are festivals available for podcasts that are non-fiction. So the market thought, right, where would my podcast fit with these ones that accept non-fiction podcasts? And it's been doing really well. Holly Short's Film Festival accept podcasts, and they said to me they got like 60 submissions and they selected 10. So I'm glad I was in that 10 because Rhode Island, last episode was there, and also the podcast also is doing very well in New Zealand and Australia, and also a festival in the UK. Yeah, so it was amazing how that happened. Ashton's episode is in quite a lot of festivals because I submit around 4, but his episode got into Flickers Rhode Island and festivals in the festivals in Melbourne, Sydney, they heard of it through Flickers Rhode Island and then asked to submit it. It's like a snowball technique. And then the New Zealand festival accepted the podcast really early, which was wonderful to get a submission, which was Chad's episode from the Texas Theatre. So that was amazing. So it was like, wow, it's doing really well. And they just go. So I like how they get appreciated at festivals and it helps really good brand awareness. People discover it in a country they might not have heard about it. So it's really great to see that.
So what you're saying is if I keep this up, I have a shot at getting into a film festival?
Yes, because obviously with my podcast, it's looking very specifically at a certain part of the film festival world.
Yeah.
So I don't interview on it filmmakers because that's like a different type of pod. I focus purely upon what my clients who are filmmakers want to know, which is how to get your film into a festival and what programmers look for. So every episode focuses upon what festival programmers are looking for, how they program, how they curate, and the process. And that's a very good, unique selling point. There are episodes which are called my educational episodes. So that was with Chad, looking at the art of film projection. There's also a great episode with TJ Calloway, who's a Dallas-based sound designer, about why you must have good sound in the film. We have to really explain it really clearly. You must have good sound in the film. A sound designer and a sound mixer is your best friend because that's what helps you into festivals because you need to hear the film.
That's kind of baseline.
It's a baseline, yeah. It's a baseline. So I have those two, which are fun. So I like to mix it up and get really creative with it. And I'll be doing actually another live podcast, Texas Theatre in December, which will be local talent. So I'll be speaking with James Faust from Dallas Film Festival and also another chat with Chad about what's happened since he did our last pod. A lot of things have been happening for him. He's become a bit of a star since we last spoke, and he's a great guy on the pod. And also, no doubt, we'll have a chat with Ashton as well. He's on every single episode, it feels like. We joke about that. He's on everyone.
Well, you see, I love that you got a taste for performing in front of an audience, and now we can't stop you from doing these live shows.
Yeah, exactly, because it was fun because I've done 2 so far, one in LA and one here. And it'd be good to do it again locally and focus on local talent, and to really get the locals out to know more about our local festivals.
Well, and I just want to make sure before we close out, say the name of the podcast. We got to get it clean once.
It's called the Film Festival Doctor Podcast. You can look at it on Spotify. They're all on there.
Okay, fantastic. Well, Rebekah, thank you again so much. I hope we get to do this again in the near future.
100%. So
have a wonderful rest of the day, ma'am.
Thank you. Bye.
Thank you for listening to my episode with Rebekah Louisa Smith, the Film Festival Doctor, on Texas Film Festivals. If you're listening to this show, you should absolutely check out hers, the Film Festival Doctor podcast, wherever you get your podcasts. And if you enjoyed our conversation and want to hear more, please remember to rate, review, and follow the podcast. It helps people find the show. We'll be back next week for our first episode of 2026, a conversation with my friend and fellow journalist Alex Gonzalez about a film we both love, Support the Girls. Until then, take care, and I'll see you at the movies and on the dusty trails of Texas.